down, people? It's your boy Lo the Lefty, and welcome back to the open floor, unscripted. I know I've been away for a little bit, but you know, it don't stop. I'm back in here. We got some real good excited boxing coming up. We got Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder versus Luis King Kong Ortiz, the rematch. That's going to be great. We already know it's going to be a knockout in that. You know, take your pick. Who you going with? Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, or you going with Luis King Kong Ortiz? The first fight, potentially, to me, in my opinion, that was fight of the year. Both fighters showed championship heart, even though Luis King Kong Ortiz was not the champion and still not the champion at this time. He had Deontay Wilder in trouble in the 7th round. Looks like I thought the fight was getting ready to be stopped. Deontay Wilder came back like a true champion, and he got Luis King Kong Ortiz out of there. Dropped him, and then he finished him with the uppercut. What's going to happen in the rematch? Deontay Wilder, just like I said in my past videos, Deontay Wilder can truly get knocked out. He can lose this fight. Nobody needs to talk about nothing past his rematch with Luis King Kong Ortiz until that fight happens and Deontay Wilder's hand is raised. No, I mean, you can talk about whatever you want, but nobody should be talking about Deontay Wilder. You know, will he fight Andy Ruiz if Andy Ruiz beats Joshua, or will he fight Joshua if Joshua beats Andy Ruiz? Will Deontay Wilder, face Tyson Fury? Y'all don't need to be talking about none of that, because if he was in there with a lesser opponent, with somebody that we pretty much will expect to get knocked out by Deontay, then I'll be able to have that conversation. But right now, this is one of those fights where he needs to focus on nobody else other than Luis King Kong Ortiz, because that man is dangerous. He's a southpaw. He's strong. He has very, very good boxing. He has good power. He knows how to roll his punches and counter punch with that straight left hand. He knows how to throw the uppercut. He knows how to throw the right hook. He hurt Deontay real bad in that 7th round in the first fight. He hurt him bad. But Deontay, again, came back like a true champion, and he stopped him. Now, this is two things. The advantage I feel like Deontay Wilder is going to have is the fact that he did knock him out. So now Luis King Kong Ortiz is fighting two people. He's fighting Deontay Wilder, the WBC champion. He's fighting in a rematch, but he's also fighting those demons from the first fight. He's fighting the fact that he got knocked out. He's fighting the fact that he got dropped. He's fighting the fact that he came that close to victory, but couldn't get the finish and ended up getting finished. That was fight of the year then, and I feel like this can still the show, potentially, for fight of the year. We have some great fights. Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman. We're not going to forget about those fights. Those are great fights, and those are both candidates for fight of the year. But this right here, this is a heavyweight championship of the world. I don't really necessarily, I do have a pick, but I pick very reluctantly. I'm going to go ahead and give the edge to Wilder. I feel like I feel like he has the advantage because he did knock Luis out. But also, Luis also keeps in his mind that kind of counters the fact that he got knocked out was the fact that he had Deontay Wilder hurt. So he knows he can hurt Deontay. He knows that he could potentially knock Deontay Wilder out. He's come back since then, and he's been on his winning streak. He's a very dangerous boxer. We have to get Deontay Wilder props. This man is truly, truly daring to be great. He's taking on challenges that he really don't necessarily have to take on. He doesn't have to rematch Luis King Kong Ortiz. He can wait for the winner of Andy Ruiz versus Joshua and try to campaign for the unification fight for the winner of that fight. He can very well try to wait it out and try to get the Tyson Fury fight, going or whatever like that, or just wait for the next year and get the Tyson Fury fight. He's taking on contenders that are dangerous that you don't see none of these other heavyweights calling out. Who have you heard call out Luis Ortiz in a long time, if ever? It's going to be a great fight. Very, very great cap off for the end of the year. We got another fight, and Jermell Iron Man Charlo versus Tony Superbad Harrison. The first fight was controversial. First fight was close. I give the edge to Jermell in the first fight, even though he didn't get the nod. He started really coming on late. You can see that Tony Harrison was starting to fade. Jermell's pressure was starting to get to him. He was starting to land shots, and he didn't get the nod. Now, you talk about demons people have to fight, especially when you take a loss. Well, there's two different types of demons that you have to fight when you take a loss. One and the same is the fact that you lost. You have to fight that demon, especially if you're rematching somebody. But there are two types, because what King Kong has to deal with, the heavyweight, the fact that not only did he lose, he got stopped. Jermell lost a controversial decision that a lot of people, including himself, obviously, feels that he won. I think his biggest criticism is the fact that he wasn't patient enough to solidify the W or getting a knockout against Tony Harrison. Tony showed, he showed some boxing skill. He moved. He was getting touched, but he was counterpunching. He showed that he's a very, very top contender, and now he's the champion. So we have to respect him as a champion, regardless if you feel that he deserves to have the strap or not. He only has 2 losses. He got stopped in one by Jerry Hurd. He also lost to Willie Nelson, 28-2, 21 knockouts. Even though it may not have been against the best opposition, you still have to respect that, especially for the fact that he did take Jermell the distance, and he made it competitive enough to get the nod. He made it competitive enough to a point where it was controversial. Because if he was really, really a lesser opponent, then he would have got knocked out, or he would have just got washed on the scorecards. Jermell is a very emotional, very charismatic, very animated, little bit flamboyant, no disrespect, but type of guy. That's just who he is. But one thing you can't deny, and one thing you can't take away from him, the guy can box. He's faster than Tony. I feel like he's sharper than Tony. I feel like he's stronger than him, even though he doesn't have the knockout percentage that Tony has. But again, you got to look at opposition. You got to look at what both of the fighters have fight and who their victories are and who their knockouts are over. Jermell has been knocking people out cold. And it's not just it's not just TKO. I mean, Lubin. He had Lubin shadowboxing with the gods. The fight was over. The last guy who fought, I believe his name was Costa, or I believe something like that. I hope I'm correct. I believe his name was Costa. Knocked him out nasty, clean. He takes that right hand, and what he does, he has a very sharp jab, but he takes that right hand and he shoots it, and he shoots it so quick and so fast, and it comes straight. He has it right by his chin. So when he shoots it, bam, straight down the pipe. And I mean, it's just one of those things where, you may not like the guy, you may not like him, but he's a very underrated boxer. Derrick James, you can tell the style of how he likes his fighters to fight. Errol Spence and Jermell Charlo both have very textbook type of styles, very, very technical. Their defense, a lot of them they both have like the high guard, but they're very aggressive as well, and they like to apply pressure and use those punches and try to. I won't see a lot of counter punching, from at least not from Arrow. You might see a little bit here. He might catch and might try to catch and shoot, but it's not a lot of counter punching. It's very most aggression and pressure. But that's going to be a good fight. If you watch the press conference, they were at each other's necks. They were at each other's throats. You can tell that Jermell, he wants to knock out Harrison. Harrison wants to prove and to show to everybody that it wasn't a fluke, that he is truly the WBC super welterweight champion, and that he can legit beat Charlo again the second time. It's going to be a great fight. If I had a gun in my head, hopefully I never do, I'm picking Charlo. I got Charlo. I won't say too late, maybe mid, close to the later rounds, because I'm going to give Tony the respect as a champion. You know, respect that he knows how to survive. He knows how to get on this bike. He knows how to counterpunch when he can. You know, pot shot, make Jamil think, make him second guess himself, just like he did in the first fight. So I believe, you know, it's going to be a little bit more technical, but a little bit more action. Still got Jamel knocking him out. This your boy, Loaded Lefty. I sure appreciate you for watching the Open Floor Unscripted. Like and subscribe to videos and get notifications whenever I'm dropping. I'm out.